Libra, it's your turn on the September readings. Let's just do this, get some cards for you. First card out, 5 of Wands in reverse, 5 of Rods in this deck. Let's get some more before we start. This one really wants to come out. Page of Swords, upright. This one, the Knight of Swords in reverse. Okay, you're definitely surrounded by a lot of sharp individuals, sharp, smart, yes, but also quite cutting, quite cunning, or at least hurtful to you, or prickly. It's uncomfortable. It's the kind of energy where you're being poked from all sides, right? That's what it is. It's a poking energy. You're being watched, doubly watched. You're being surrounded as well, right? So you're completely encircled. Let's draw some more. It feels uncomfortable more than anything. It's like obviously being the center of attention, but not wanting it, because it's not you're not being put on the on display, right, for compliments or appraisal or you know, this is the contrary. This energy is sort of difficult, where there's competition, or at least friction, right? And I feel you're being poked, you're being people are trying to get a rise out of you. Also, it's really funny how I'm getting something about the speed of things, right? So it's like they're quick jabs, so that's why it's poke, right? It's I don't know. The other thing about speed is how certain jabs are really quick, and then some others, like especially this one. This one is totally different. This one is like someone taking a sword and plunging it really, 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 really slowly, really, really, really deep, and then doing the same in reverse, like making sure that really, really torturing you, hurting you, all the way as they pull the blade out and leave you bleeding to death. Excuse the analogy, but that's how it comes out. It comes up. Oh, the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Talk about, I'm telling you, this is like so slow. It's very cruel. It also has no end. The Knight of Pentacles always reaches his goal, right? And when it's in reverse, it doesn't reach his goal. So it doesn't reach the end. So there's no ending to this torture. There's no ending to this friction. At least the way the cards are showing up now, that's what it looks like. That there will be no end to this. I don't think it's the case, but sure feels like it. Whew. Let's see if I can turn this energy around for you. I'm smiling because I don't know which cards are going to come out next. And I know I have no control over that, so I just want you to know that this is not my decision. Let's see. One more card, maybe. Or a couple. Maybe you want to tell us something else. 3 cards came out. The cards needed to say something else. 2 of Cups, the 10 of Cups in reverse, and the 7 of Cups in reverse. All cups now, like all these swords. I mean, it's just interesting how the emotions show up. Maybe it'll explain the jabs, the friction, the cruelty, the stalking. It's a weird one because it's almost telling me you've been too selective, Libra. You've set your eyes on someone that's probably unattainable here. You have a lot of love for them, but somehow happiness, forming a unit, is unattainable with this person. You could be one of many. Although this could imply you might have been chosen or could be chosen, I don't feel like you are. I feel it only implies that you're one of many in this case. I think also someone, I think the long, slow piercing I was describing coming from this Knight of Swords. Because it's stalking, obviously you could see that as your privacy being breached, pierced. It's almost like its aim was to make you very unhappy. To destabilize your family, your home life, maybe. Even if the 7 of Cups is in reverse, I still sense confusion. So wanting to confuse you about what your feelings were, what your motivations were, even affecting your self-love, your self-esteem. So another way, let's erase this first, I want to say almost reading. Let's do a different reading with the same cards here. You have two gentlemen. They're in a, what's the word for this in English? I'm hearing they're in a bad spot. So it doesn't mean necessarily a location like somewhere dangerous. I just think that they're in a bad situation, a bad place, in a bad, how do you say, when two people fall out, right? It's just really weird because this energy of the Page of Swords, it's like all of these people here are looking at this, meaning people they can tell there's been a fallout, they can see it, they can sense it. Fallout being described here as a connection between these two people. It's not necessarily gender specific by that, they're not necessarily men. So a situation that was very, very, where these two people felt very close, connected. I almost said solid, but I don't know if they ever felt solid before this happened. So there's a lack of happiness, there's a lack of reaching the Ten of Cups. So maybe taking this to, a more committed, moving from maybe the first initial sexual chemistry here, maybe physical chemistry also, just like the, getting to know, honeymoon phase, kind of beginning of the relationship, and then totally sort of, I'm hearing climbing, like falling down the stairs, kind of like, almost like you climb the stairs, and out of nowhere you miss, you trip, and you basically fall all the way down, a little bit like those games of snakes and ladders, right? Those, I hope you know which game I'm talking about. The Seven of Cups here, and then the Five of Wands here, there's a lot of people involved. This has been happening more and more often, that I'm seeing people being implicated, involved, unnecessarily, I believe, or just too involved. And it has to do with, all of this watching, like people are just have access to this. So it's creating a lot of confusion. I think it's also a sense of not knowing what you want anymore, because you're basically going from one cup to another. I know it's in reverse, so some people will will choose to say no, it's because the choice has been made, it's clear, it's only one option. And but it's not always the case. Even when the card is in reverse, I don't necessarily always want to say that it's the choice has been made, that it's clear, that it's been decided and concluded, right? Like final. And not to say that it's not either. So take it as you will, right, for your life. But maybe there was a clear decision of not pursuing this because it didn't reach the Ten of Cups, right? So you didn't climb all the way up to that ladder, all the way up to whatever you had in mind that was, your ultimate goal with this connection. But definitely there's a sense of hopping from one thing to another, like trying to make sure that, by tasting other other cups or having a feel for other cups, that you're not making the wrong choice. Or simply the apparition of all these options, right? They weren't there necessarily before, but suddenly they crop up. And it's interesting because the card is in reverse. I'm tempted to say that they could actually present themselves, but almost like you're not being made any gestures. I think maybe it's your own mind wondering. So, wandering and wondering. The what ifs, what if I chose, what if I left, what if I stayed, you know. You're the champion at that, Libra, especially in connections, right? You are very idealistic, so if you don't reach your Ten of Cups, it's easy for you to fall, kind of prey to your own almost like really propping your dream, like propping a relationship to make it sort of fit this ideal that you possess inside, right, in your mind's eye, in your heart, and maybe being very disillusioned here about the reality of it, Maybe this strife is between these two individuals. But there's definitely an energy of one person would have been spying over the other. The Page of Swords is telling us that there's been stalking, spying. It's just a comment. It's just the way the wands are placed. I'm seeing the letter A. So I just wanted to bring that up. Really just a side note. I think it's in the Aries read, I forget now. I think I had both these cards actually. It's really strange. I do want to bring the same message about, for me, mushrooms are indicative, or they speak of the mycelium, so always the group, right? The connections, the network, the web, humanity at large, how we're connected, etc., how we're even connected to the cosmos. But I do sense that there's been the interference, and that's the message I have for Aries, is definitely the interference of others within this connection. And I really want to be clear about the interference of others. Others is plural, so it's not just one other individual interfering. There's a multitude of people, quite a lot of people actually. You could maybe even pick up on gossiping here on the Seven of Cups, right? Especially on this card, because of these women drinking together, right? Sort of, you could imagine them having a conversation or talking amongst themselves, right? About what you don't know, but that's why I'm going into the gossip comment. That's why I'm adding the gossip. Anyways, let's do the oracle now. Okay, 2 cards. Three. Okay, answer the call. Answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? The crumbling. What are you clinging on to? And Imrama is, where are you being called to journey to? Okay, so I'm sensing a huge pull, right? Especially, there's a huge pull here of something is magnetizing you, pulling, it's calling you, and it's inviting you. So it's soul calling you, and it's your soul being called, your heart strings are being pulled, quote unquote. And it's also putting you in motion. You're going to go literally, physically move into a journey. It could be symbolic, but it could be physical as well. Physical travel. But there is something holding you back, something that is that you are holding on to. So it could be you, it could be one of these. So I'm thinking you're one of these knights, right? It would make sense because it's describing this relationship, and I think you've had a fallout with someone, and there's way too many people around you being involved, whether friends, family, community, whatever, or all of the above. But there's something that you are not allowing, you're not allowing this magnet to actually attract you. You're fighting it. You know, the clinging, I don't think you're clinging to like a person or a situation. The image I have is that you're basically holding on to like a railing or something, right? Like you're trying to make sure you grab onto something because you don't want to be pulled, like, I don't know. Those movies where you have like people being sucked or magnetized, pulled, and so they go flying in the air and like they catch themselves onto pipes or something, and they're like their bodies are horizontal and they're really trying to like not let go, and they don't want to be pulled in. So I don't feel that what you're clinging on to is a person or a situation. It's just an object. And please don't associate this image, this object, to a person. This is not what I'm trying to say here. I'm just trying to say that there's nothing really holding you back. It's your fear that's holding you back. So you're the one that's grabbing anything you can not to be pulled in. So I really don't think anyone's in the way. I really don't think it's a situation impeding you. I don't think it's just people impeding you. I don't think it's, I think it's your fear. I think that by climbing the ladder and having fallen down the ladder or fallen down the stairs, you don't want that to happen again, especially if it's with the same individual, right? I mean, it's already hard enough to, let's say, a love situation doesn't work out. Sometimes it's difficult to enter a new relationship, but it would be even harder if you've had a disconnect or a fallout with one person and trying to go back with that particular person. I think it's harder. It's harder because you think what happened prior will happen again, or you fear that. I'm looking at the images. I always do. Okay, so that's what I want to say about these cards. Let's draw a gypsy card. Maybe I have something else to add. You see how this picture, it's a building that's split in two, right? It's like a building or like a tower almost, split in two. So you see beyond there's a beautiful meadow full of flowers, and also you have this idea that there's a real connection to the divine here with this light. But you see how high it is, right? It's reaching into the clouds, really high up in the heavens. I think what's so fearful to you, why you're clinging on, right, and not wanting to be pulled in, it's because you fell from a high point. So, of course, you would be fearful to try it again because you fell from quite a height. Anyways. Okay, one card turned. The Bride ensures for a single person the fulfillment of their highest aims when near, if distant, turbulent married life. Okay, I just want to say, I say it for every sign because these cards I don't often use in readings, but I did pick them for the blurb, and there's always a positive and a negative, and so the message is contradictory on each card. So you can choose a positive message, you can overlook the negative one, you can take maybe both. You can, that's on you or for you to decide. I just want to point out that, the fulfillment of their highest aims, and I just talked about the height, so reaching the 10, that you fell from such a high point, a high standpoint. So again, you'll reach heights within this connection if it works out, right? But in this reading, because of the energies here, like the knights are in reverse, there's strife, there's something that you're not moving towards, you're not letting yourself be pulled in, it's something that you choose to anchor yourself to, not to be moved. So in the present moment, you're in the energy of the turbulence of the married life. So you might have been married, not married, but you certainly had some form of engagement, quote unquote, like not necessarily formal, but a form of, maybe you've verbally exchanged some form of vows, or some kind of some kind of vows, some kind of almost like a serment, something like that. It's really interesting. Sermon. I hope it's the right word. I think it is. So it doesn't really give us the outcome, but I think that it's okay at the moment, because I think you need to really, how can I say, let seep in the idea that you're being called by your higher self. This is soul calling. And that there's I want to say physical, there's traveling, there's a physical journey. I'm sensing it's, I hope I'm not adding something that is not there, but if there's a fallout, and if there were feelings here, and if you're being called so strongly, and that there's a possibility of, being married, I do believe that you are physically separated, and that you do need to travel to reunite and physically connect. That's what I'm seeing. I'm also thinking that if the journey, the physical travel is being emphasized, I think that we're past maybe the conversation, right? There is a call, there is a phone call, but I don't think it's enough to mend things. I think proximity will be required to really seal the deal. For the sermon, for the contract, the vows, the commitments, the engagement, whatever. So the marriage. So Libra, it's quite fitting for you. You are wanting typically a committed union in life. It's something that you cherish quite dearly. So I hope you will let yourself be pulled in. Pulled in towards reconciliation. Maybe towards making that committed choice, right? Instead of remaining an energy of hopping from one thing to another and still confused about what's the best thing, right? No matter whether it's you or your partner, it doesn't matter in this case, really. To transform this energy into a very single-minded, determined, conscious decision about singling out one another for one another and sealing that into a committed union, also officialized by marriage. Very, very strong. Message here. So thank you so much for your time. Always appreciate you being here. Thank you. So, you know, if you want to help, do like the video, share it, and subscribe, but mostly come back. Thank you.